Buffalo Plus, your interactive look at the week in football, brought to you by Connors and Ferris.
Look at those Buffalo Bills getting ready to start the season. Yeah, see? The bickering Bills are back, right? Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, the two captains, best buddies, having a little fun at practice as Allen and the Bills prepare for the season opener coming up, the Bills and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Buffalo Plus for the 2021 season. I'm Mike Catalano, along with Jenna Cottrell and Dan Fates. It's every week here, getting you set for Bills football coming up as the Bills take on the Steelers to get things started. And guys, you saw those two players out there. This pressure of being an AFC championship team a year ago seems to have really gotten to them.
They seem really tight right now. A group that's, they have so many expectations heading into the season, but we know the Bills like to keep it light.
Yeah, that's what best friends do, and that's what captains do. And this is what it is. And to see Josh Allen trying to continue to elevate himself. Last year, MVP caliber season, came up second. Now it's the pressure, Mike, of doing it again.
Yeah, and look, Josh Allen knows what he's facing. This whole team does. And a lot of times they will discuss the expectations and talk about the way they want to handle things. I think if you look at the way this Bills team is built, with all the continuity coming back from last year to this year, I think you can look at them and saying they are prepared for what's ahead of them. Well, this week, both Josh Allen and Sean McDermott were asked about those big expectations and how they plan on handling that, starting with the Steelers on Sunday.
We've got lofty goals. It don't matter what anybody else says about us or what we're going to accomplish. Like it's ultimately up to us and what we do on the field, and we're excited to get out there on Sunday.
That's a goal, right? Of every year get better, every year defensively get better, every year offensively, special teams get better. Every year I got to coach better than I did the year before. That's the right mindset. That's the growth mindset we talk about, and that's also an accountability to one another that we have to have as a good team.
He got growth mindset in there.
That was early.
Yeah, we've already heard trust the process earlier this season. We had to hear growth
That's right.
mindset.
But what I want to talk about is the idea of, are they cliches or are they the building blocks for this franchise? Meaning, yes, it's the words are cliched, right? Because he says them all the time, and but at the same time, I think Sean McDermott from day one has built this way of handling everything, including the growth mindset.
Well, I think they start as cliches, and then it doesn't really go into process. There's another one for you. Until you start to win. And when you start to see that, then I think they become the building blocks of what the team can really stand for. But I think you can be a 4-12 team and talk about growth mindset and all those things, and it doesn't mean anything. Now where they are AFC championship contenders, I think it means a lot.
And Sean McDermott is so specific about his messaging. Like, everything that comes out. At first, it was, playoff caliber. Then it's championship caliber. It's always been trust the process. It's always been the growth mindset as his Bills continue to build this thing out. But that is something that Sean McDermott talks about so much. And another thing for this team now this year, though, is taking that next step. Especially when you look at this team, how high those expectations are.
I think of that step, and I think, it's a small step for the Bills, a giant step for Bills Mafia, right?
Yeah,
if you think of it that way.
Yeah.
Well, only because they've already made it to the AFC Championship game, and they had a dominant offense. Now, Jenna, when you look at this offense and what they have built, the question is, man, they were awful good last year.
So good.
What about in 2021? Do they take a step back? Do they take a major step forward?
Well, that's the thing that we're going to have to look and wait and see. But because of the talent on this team, look, we know Josh Allen and the expectations we have for him going forward. And there's so many weapons. Stephon Diggs, Cole Beasley, the Bills bringing in Emmanuel Sanders as well, Gabriel Davis, as well as the running game. Dan, but we got to talk to Cole Beasley this week about what he thinks and what he's preparing for and what he's hoping for as the Bills get ready for the start of the season.
We come out there with the mentality that nobody's going to stop us and we're going to score. I think that confidence has, built some last year and even the year before, but even more so this year. So, we don't hope it'll happen. We expect it to. So I think that's the difference. And but it's easier said than done. It's easy to do in practice. You got to carry it over to the game.
And it is so much easier said than done. But talking to Cole Beasley, he's spent some time in the league. We obviously know this is a veteran guy. We asked him, is this one of the most talented teams you've been on? And he's like, yeah, this is the time as well.
But this is also that different dynamic of doing that with pressure. They love to be the underdog, be the team that nobody's thinking about and surprise people. They're no longer going to surprise people. Beasley said it best. Like, all of this confidence has been built over time. It goes hand in hand with the pressure they're going to deal with now.
Yeah, and what I think about, and it was interesting to hear him say that about, we don't hope to do it, we expect to do it. So I think it's a combination of things, of raised expectations, but also the idea that, they have a reason to be confident. And part of the reason they expect it, and again, like we mentioned, the continuity. It's the same guys back, talented players.
Yeah.
You know, for many years, the Bills didn't bring the same players back because they didn't want the same players back.
They weren't good enough to bring back.
Yeah,
but
also
now
that.
they do. So you think about that offense, what that team's going to look like hitting the field on Sunday against the Steelers team that's looking for a little payback, what the Bills did to them at the end of last year during the regular season and beat them. One of the guys on the Steelers that is really good is going to be a guy they know they're facing. Now, Dan, there was some talk of whether T.J. Watt was going to play because of his contract. And it sort of was trending
I think he's going to play.
Yeah, I think after today, we know it's pretty sad.
Signed a 4-year, $112 million contract, 80 of it guaranteed. He's the highest paid defensive player in the NFL right now. But there was a lot of drama going in and around training camp that T.J. Watt wanted a new deal. He would practice, he would participate, but he would only practice in individual work.
Yeah.
And then as soon as the team would go into their work, he would sit off to the side.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah. That's what
do
she
that
does
now.
That's what we call Jenna Cottrell. That's what it is.
He's a star, though.
Yeah. Well, but it is interesting just the dynamic of the way things are going for the Steelers. I see the Bills all rowing the boat together.
Yes.
Right? For the most part, that has been the case.
Yes.
I mean, there have been some hiccups this year.
Yep.
We know the COVID thing has been a minor issue
Correct.
internally with the players. But to hear Ben Roethlisberger, go all in on pay the man, and then they do pay the man. I guess that's good in some ways for continuity. Maybe the general manager isn't too thrilled that the quarterback is spending the money of the team that way, but that's what they're doing. That's when we're talking about the Steelers defense against the Bills offense. What about the Bills defense and how they're going to match up this week and for this season? When we come right back here on Buffalo Plus, look at this young fella. Yeah, high school player. In a different position, you'll hear from the Bills All-Pro and what it was like growing up a quarterback when we come back on Buffalo Plus. To everybody here with us on Facebook Live and the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel, which has been growing. We are thrilled.
Yes.
We're glad you're with us live tonight. As you're aware, this is also a television show, so we're in the breaks, and you guys got this. We've done this before, but we want to stay connected with you, whoever's on Facebook and on YouTube.
Let's say, we got some good comments.
Yeah. First off, Paul DiMetropolis, avid viewer, is always on here with us. Talks about how if the Bills want to take that next step to the Super Bowl, the defense needs to get to the next level. And I think that's a huge point.
Yes.
Look, I think the offense was under a lot of pressure last year because of the inefficiency of the Bills' defense. I think the defense is better this year, which will help the offense.
I agree. On a lighter note, Rick was saying earlier on when we showed that video of Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen, he said those two are the best of friends. They could star in a remake of Step Brothers.
Well, that was Mitch and Josh earlier in training camp.
Yeah,
They're best friends.
That's true. Josh has
many
got a lot of
best
best
friends
friends. I was
does
going to
he
say.
have?
I was going to say.
Got a handshake
Oh,
for
Smash
everybody.
Physical with a really nice compliment. Best Bills coverage on YouTube. We really appreciate
do
that.
appreciate
It's
that.
been a lot of fun growing this channel and this community.
And Jeremy Kay is big on Zach Moss this year. We'll have to see how he goes. We'll talk running game in a little bit.
All right,
Your favorite.
quick, and then we're coming right back. Oh, there's Tre'Davius White getting ready for another season with the Buffalo Bills. He's gotten paid. He's an all-star, an all-pro, and one of the leaders of the Bills. Really the beginning of this trust the process area for the Bills, the first draft pick since Sean McDermott and then Brandon Beane arrived. Hey everybody, thanks for being with us on Buffalo Plus. Mike Catalano, Jenna Cottrell, and Dan Fates. You see Tre'Davius White there, Dan, as that all-pro star cornerback.
Yeah.
But that's not the way it all began.
Not so fast. Yeah, Trey White has not always been the cornerback that you may have thought. So I caught up with him and sat him down to take him back down memory lane. And this is what we had to show you. Bills fans know Trey White for this.
And that's going to be picked off. That's White again.
And this.
Tre'Davius White.
And this. You know, stopping quarterbacks. But it wasn't that long ago that he was the quarterback. Yeah, I tracked down White's highlights from his senior year at Green Oaks High School in Shreveport, Louisiana, and sat him down.
I think this is probably black and white at this point. You got some behind-the-scenes footage. Look at that. I was nice with it in my hands. I just had a feel for it.
And even his teammates couldn't believe it.
No way.
I could play a little bit.
No way that's Tre'Davius.
How could you not love that face, though?
Look at Tre'Davius.
I threw for more yards than I ran for, so you can't just say, just take his legs away.
Look at him, move the pocket, pump fake. Where you going with it? Oh, he's throwing deep. Tubbies!
White only won 11 games in high school, but says being switched to quarterback his junior year gave him a chance to showcase his talents and get out of Shreveport.
I'm up at 6 a.m. doing ladder drills out in front on the sidewalk in front of my house. And people looking at me crazy like, what the hell are you doing? But they don't know I got a different vision in mind of where I want to be, so I'm going to do whatever I have to do to get there.
And he got there.
The Buffalo Bills select Tre'Davius White.
And that is why he was so emotional last season after signing a $70 million extension.
People where I'm from, they didn't really think that they could really do it until they saw what I signed for the other day. That gave my whole city hope.
It just brought me back to those times where, you know, people didn't see it, but I did.
Yeah, and it was that vision in Shreveport, Louisiana, when he was making plays as a quarterback that brought Trey here to Buffalo to make plays to stop him.
There was the talk about what he did to get to this point.
Yeah.
Now he's an all-pro.
Yep.
Now he's been paid.
Yeah.
What did he say about going forward?
I asked him what he wants to do next and what motivates him. And he said, individually, he has done everything that he wants to do. The only thing that's left to do is to win a Super Bowl and now pour into the young cornerbacks. He wants Levi Wallace. He wants Dane Jackson to accomplish what he's accomplished. Look, he's a dad of two. Like he says he feels old. You saw him in that video. Look at him. He looks like a dad. That is where he says he's going to get the most joy, is pouring into other people and seeing their success. He's a true leader.
Yeah.
And now in the secondary.
Absolutely.
And Dan, I would like you to do a quick little Jordan Poyer impersonation of him. It was like Tony Romo, basically, is what it sounded like.
It was great.
It was.
He made the story, too.
He did.
He did.
And he's
That
a good
video.
sport about it.
Yes.
That video of Trey in high school.
Look at that face.
Oh.
I just love that face.
Spectacular. Look, he's one of the leaders of this defense. And this defense has their work cut out for him again this year. Now, they were good last year in spots. Like, they need to be better. We know they've worked on the pass rush. We know they've worked on trying to become a better, more dominant defense if they can get it done. Micah Hyde is one of those leaders on defense. Now, Hyde is a little fired up these days. He and his family just had another baby.
Yeah, and I think that's put into perspective how the time might be now for Micah Hyde as well as the rest of the Bills.
We just had another baby girl the other day. So, not another baby girl, a baby girl the other day. So, you know, I'm up in the morning, you know, getting the milk hot, I'm feeding her, and I'm coming in the building already up for a couple hours. So the young guys are probably gonna get tired of me soon because I'm motivated, I'm ready to go. I'm on a mission. I wanna do whatever I can to help this team win a championship.
Micah said he's old and cranky now. He's talked about that as well.
My favorite guy now on the team.
Mike?
Well, you know, even when I was young, I was cranky too. So I was
You've
part
just
of
grown
it.
into it.
No, but I like what he said because, you know, when Bruce Smith was in at camp a few weeks ago, what he talked to the players about was the window.
Yep.
He said this window's open and this is your time
Yep.
now. Now, back in that day when that window was open, they went through it 4 times to get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But you just don't know. You don't know what's going to happen.
And I think that's part of it, this pressure. There are a lot of people in the national media now that are picking the Bills as their Super Bowl winners and things like that. You also need to have that internal pressure. That's the good kind of pressure that you want. That's the one you listen to. And that is where I think this Bills team, some of those older veteran guys are like, hey, now.
Because they know when they look around the room, they see the talent that's there. And that's something that a guy like Micah Hyde, he's entering.
Star said it too.
Star said it too. Cole Beasley's talked about it. Stephon Diggs. These are guys that have been in the league, and they know that talent like this doesn't come around
And
often.
I just want it on the record, what they're referring to as older guys are their age. So just so you know that.
So no one is your age, though, so it's okay.
Well, I'm not playing. We're taking a break. Speaking of which, my mic drop is coming up next, and it's on the Patriots, and it's on the AFC East when we come back on Buffalo Plus. All right, you guys watch it. How many age things with these two?
Okay.
Really?
I couldn't relate, though. The only thing I could relate to Micah with having the baby, getting up and doing those things.
And being cranky?
Yeah.
Not as cranky as you.
That's true. Also, you were the one that brought up the age thing.
It really is the
You
case.
teed us up for that.
Yeah, I really did.
Yeah, you really did.
Bunch of comments here on Facebook talking about the Trey White story, just not knowing that he was a quarterback in Louisiana. That was a big thing for him. He didn't know his high school team wasn't very good, but going to play quarterback gave him a chance to be recruited, go to LSU, get the contract extension. Like, it all kind of went from him just being a quarterback, showing off how talented he was.
And speaking of showing off his talent, what did you notice right away watching him on the field?
He runs.
He ran exactly the same way.
And we asked, he goes, nothing's changed. He goes, except a couple pounds. That was it. And his shoulder pads are smaller. He had those big shoulder pads.
Yeah. That video is so good, too.
Mike played with leather helmet.
Wow. He's a heck of a guy. I remember being at the draft in Philly. That's what I referred to, that first pick. And the Bills had traded back, and we were like, well, the draft pick's probably not going to be here because not everybody shows up. And then they draft Trey, and he's there. And for the next 45 minutes or so, we got to meet the new guy for the Bills. And he's been great ever since he walked in the building.
And I will say, you showed it a little bit, but how sentimental he was signing that contract extension.
Emotional.
What that meant to him. Emotional. What it meant to his family. And like you said, what it meant for his hometown of Shreveport.
Yeah. Poverty-stricken Shreveport, Louisiana. I don't know if you can say that enough, and what that meant to him to get out of it and to provide for his family.
And to show that, like,
you can do it.
He was able to accomplish his dreams, and he just talked about how important that was.
All right, if you want to see the story again, it's on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. We'll be right back after this. Back on Buffalo Plus, and there's Mac Jones. And man, the rookie is ready to go. Dan and Jenna with me. The division itself, Dan, we're talking about young quarterbacks.
Josh is the grandpa.
He's the old guy.
Josh is the Mike Catalana
at 25
of the division.
Compared to Josh a lot.
Well, I think Mac Jones works well because he's got a nickname that Jenna can relate to because it's food related.
Yes,
it's mac and cheese.
It is. I mean, you know I love that.
But it is interesting to see when you got two quarterbacks that are rookies in the division, a second-year guy in Tua, and Josh Allen, who has now established himself. So each week on the show, I, get to pontificate a little bit. We're calling it the mic drop. The mic drop. And tonight, it's really on Mac Jones and the Patriots. Look, I think he's a talented guy, and I've heard all the stories of Bill Belichick bringing in a guy he loves. Get out of here, Cam Newton. We're going to let him go. And I think there's a possibility Mac Jones could end up being really good. But some of the stuff I'm reading and hearing, both about the Patriots quarterback and about the Patriots team, is a little contradictory to what we normally hear. I mean, I'm hearing that this rookie's going to step right in, and because he played at Alabama, that makes him ready to go. Of course, we have Tua with the Dolphins, who struggled last year as a rookie, and now you're trying to find out what he can do in year two. Okay, maybe Mac Jones is more prepared, but he still is a rookie. The other part about the Patriots is they have spent a ton of money in the offseason. Well, that's normally the teams that fail, the ones that spend the money. And I know he's Bill Belichick, and there's nobody who respects what he's done in this game more than me. But this idea that this offense with the Patriots, with a rookie quarterback, and all these changes is going to walk right in and be good and challenge the Bills in the division, I think is getting ahead of themselves a little bit. I think the kid's going to be good. I think he fits New England. But in my opinion, that is a big leap to take with a rookie quarterback.
I love it, Mike. I'm looking forward to mic drops.
Well,
first of all, rooting forward.
That was a great indicator.
This happens off air a lot of the times, but it's great to have it on air so you guys get to see it.
Well, it also pains me, but I could not agree more with all the points that you're saying, considering the fact that I feel like is he going to be Tom Brady 2.0? The expectations that means to put on a young player like that, and again, we don't know. We're seeing what he's going to be. But, man.
And the Patriots have swung and missed on way more quarterbacks than they have hit on. And it wasn't that long. It wasn't that long ago. I wrote down his name so I didn't forget it. Jarrett Stidham was going to light up the world.
Yeah.
He was going to be. He was going to be the greatest quarterback, and everybody in New England was talking about him. And then they signed Cam Newton. We've never heard of Jarrett Stidham since. Yeah. I'm not saying Mac Jones is going to be bad. I'm not saying he's going to be great. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But to sit here and say that, watch out Buffalo, I don't buy it yet.
Yeah,
it's a leap to take, and that's why I say I think he's talented. I think he could do well, but man, it's tough for rookies. Not just to play well, because we've seen that happen, but to play well and win in the NFL is a tough thing. Hey, we're thrilled to have Connors and Ferris as our sponsor for Buffalo Plus. Big supporters of the Bills, big supporters of what we do here for you. Greg Connors knows this team, has some insight on the team, got a chance to talk to the Bills sponsor about what he thinks about this upcoming season. Keep in mind, he's a guy that picked the Bills to win 13 games last year. Here's what Greg had to say.
Last year, things kind of set well for them, and, they got a couple of calls when they needed to. They got a couple of bounces when they needed to, which got them to that 13-3. If the same thing happens in this year as happened last year and they stay healthy, I think they're 14-3. I think they win the AFC. I think they get the number 1 seed in the AFC, and I think they play the Kansas City Chiefs in Buffalo with one of the more raucous sellout crowds you'll ever have in AFC championship history. I think the Bills go on to the Super Bowl.
It just saying that, and we're all making our predictions in a minute, is really something. But they have put themselves in this position. Yeah. If you'd have picked that last year, which it would have been a bit of a hot take.
Yeah. You would have looked really smart at the end of the season.
Yes.
Maybe not at the beginning.
Yeah, but it's not a hot take anymore that the Bills can go there. All right, thanks very much, Greg. When we come right back, Greg made his pick. We're making our pick on Sunday's game and on how the Bills will do in 2021 into 2022 when we come right back on Buffalo Plus. All right.
Great.
So I want to know how many people out there are picking the team to go to the Super Bowl. You know, it is something. When it's your team, but when it's your team, I wonder if fans, I'm curious what they'd say. Do you feel like you're jinxing them a little bit if you pick them to go to the Super Bowl?
Well,
that's fair.
First of all, I feel like Bills fans every year say the Super Bowl or bust.
I don't think so.
I disagree. I think they brace themselves for disaster.
Okay, they brace themselves for impact, but the hope is, I should say, the hope is obviously always the Super Bowl.
Yes, it is that every team hopes for that. Let's be honest. For many years, this team was just hoping to break the drought.
Correct.
And get in the playoffs.
Hope to have a winning record.
Winning records. All those things. Beat New England once. All those things going on.
A couple comments here on the YouTube page. Rick Rorick saying that if it wasn't for the stupid Hail Mary, we would have been 14-2, which is very true.
It's very true.
And there are also a couple of games, if Cam Newton doesn't fumble, maybe they're 12-4. Like, that's the way that's how close these games are.
I will say, though, I think that Hail Mary loss, I know they went into the bye week after that, but I felt like that was a good time to lose. It was before the end of the, that helped the team kind of get refocused and settle in, I feel like.
And even in a loss, Josh Allen had a great drive that gave them the lead.
Oh my gosh, that touchdown to Stephon Diggs was
great.
Insane.
And then they made that play. But it was against an NFC team.
Yes.
It's just
on the road.
That's what we're going to be looking for this year too.
Yeah.
It used to be lose and panic because they had no margin of error.
Yeah.
They created a little one. Now again, you could say you want the 1 seed and all those things that go with it. So we will see how they end up. It's a long way to go with a 17-game season coming up this year. All right, again, very quick, and then we're right back here on Buffalo Plus. The Bills getting set to start the season at Highmark Stadium against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And last year, the Pittsburgh Steelers got off to a tremendous start. There was some thought of them being undefeated, and we know how easy it is to be an undefeated team
happens all the time
in the league. But at that time, then they started to falter a little bit at the end of the year, and the Bills handled them in a Sunday night home game. Well, now they get the Steelers again. So what we're going to do here and every week on our show is predict the game, but something a little extra for this week is we're going to predict the game and we're going to predict the season. Now, looking back to last year.
Doesn't matter.
I believe Jenna had them going to the AFC Championship.
Oh, yes.
And you did.
Yeah.
Now, I did have the most games right during the
Doesn't
regular
matter.
season. And
we
predicting
need
the
to look at
games.
the tape.
No, it was me. But that being said, we're putting that in the past.
Correct.
You know, we're having a growth mindset to try
Moving
to get
forward,
better
we're
this
trusting
year.
the process.
So that's what we're going to do. And I believe we're going to start with Dan to get things going.
Especially this game, I see this as the Steelers' defense is probably a little bit better than what we're expecting with how good this Bills offense. I think they get off to a slow start. I think they control the game. I think this is an atmosphere where the Bills are going to have to try and contain themselves. 70,000 Bills Mafia members. Brian Dable said they're going to have to compartmentalize this. I think the Bills get the win. I think it's convincingly. I think it's 27-17. And for the season, I got them at 13-4 for the season. Last year I had them at 13-3. I nailed it. And I got them getting another 13 wins this year.
Okay. All right. I also went with the Bills winning in this one. I have it as a closer score, but that's honestly because I think there's going to be some who cares touchdowns at the end of this. Like, I agree with what Dan's saying. I think the Steelers defense will be a tough defense to go about. I think it's a really great test to start, but I just think that Josh Allen and this Bills offense, it's going to take some time for them to settle in, but I think with all the talent on the field, then you look at the other side of the ball, I just think that there's a lot of new faces, new pieces for the Steelers offense, and I think this Bills defense can get after Ben Roethlisberger. So we'll have to see. So I have the Bills winning this one 34-27, but again, some who cares touchdowns late, and I have the Bills going 12-5.
All right. I think the Bills offense is ready to go right off the jump. I think they control the game. I think that's going to be their MO all year. They are one of those teams now. What Kansas City has been and still are right now, that's the Bills offense. I think they control the game start to finish, and I think they win the game 34-20. I have them 12-5. I was between that and 13-4. I think they may be resting guys at the end of the year, depending on what happens. Now, I want to wrap this up, part of it real quick, because as a Buffalo Plus team, we're all in agreement with this team.
Correct.
They're going to L.A. for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
All three of us agree.
I didn't
they
mean
are
to
going to be
bury the lead here.
Yeah, they are going to be AFC East AFC champions.
Well, yeah.
And go.
Hopefully AFC East, AFC, and then
And then all the way through.
Yeah.
And something else we're going to do every week here on the show is Dan's going to...
We need a name for it. We're working on a name. Right now we're thinking it's Uncle Dan's Play of the Week. Something like that. Or Uncle Dan's Plays. Something like that. Give you a game. Also, there will be a full column up on BuffaloPlus.com. I am at 52% for the last 2 seasons, so I'm giving out money. Packers -3.5 at the Saints. It's actually going to be played in Florida. But I think Aaron Rodgers 6-1 against the spread in his last two September games. Last 2 months of September. So I think that they get that going. I think they play well.
That's your pick.
That's my pick.
That's your pick for this. And then the full pick
Uncle
is
Dan's
coming up.
plan.
Uncle Dan's plan.
We're working on it. It's a work in progress.
By the way, this is
growth mindset.
This is part of what Dan does, and Dan does well. So you're going to want to pay attention. Again, that'll be on BuffaloPlus.com, where you can see written stories, game stories, and all that.
Yes.
And the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel is your place to be. We thank all the subscribers. The numbers keep going up. And you've responded. We put a ton of content on there, pregame and certainly postgame too. This week, Jenna and I will be for the game at Highmark Stadium and ready to go as the Bills get set to play the Steelers. Again, Buffalo Plus is your page. For Dan Fates and Jenna Cottrell, I'm Mike Catalana. Thanks for watching as the Bills get set to start the 2021 season. It's a race to the finish. Most of them, Josh Allen's going to win.